Hey YouTube, Engineer Boy 100 here. Today I'm going to cover engine additives. There's a lot of videos on YouTube about what works, what doesn't work, and the results that different individuals have had. I've been using different engine additives for years, many years, and some work and some don't. So today I'm going to give you my recommendations based on my experiences with engine additives, the good and the bad. Stay tuned. Okay, so first up here, I'm going to cover this Best Line engine treatment and engine restore. These two both work very well, okay? The Best Line here is basically a coating that goes in your engine oil, and when you run the car, it coats all of the parts inside your engine. All of your internal engine parts gets coated by this Best Line. Then the Best Line remains on the engine parts once you turn your engine off. What this does is it allows your engine to be protected when you first start it when it's cold, giving the oil pump time to pump the oil from the oil pan up through all of the internal parts of the car. It prevents a lot of bad wear on the parts before the engine oil gets pumped into the engine. So I've used this for a long time, and I noticed a difference. When I start the car, some of my cars are a little bit older, and some of the rings have worn a bit, the seals have worn a bit, and you get a little bit of smoke when you first start the engine from oil being burned. It also, as an experienced mechanic, I can tell when an engine is running smoother or when it's running a little bit rough because it's dragging internally, because the parts are a little rough or the oil's not there yet. When I have the engine restore in there by Best Line, this treatment makes the engine run more smoothly, I can tell. And I've used it for years. This works really, really well. Now, I don't know how long it lasts. They recommend that you put it in at every oil change. And I noticed that it does last, for my cars, at least halfway through the oil cycle. When I change the oil and put this in, I notice a difference at least halfway through. I don't know if it makes it all the way through, but it makes a really, really good difference. Okay, so that's this one. Now, engine restore does a little bit of both. From what I've been able to tell, it does not coat as well as Best Line, but in addition to coating, okay, this one does a little bit of sealing. It treats your oil to give it some of its viscosity back, and it actually works with the engine seals that are around your valve stems to help reduce engine oil consumption, and it actually works. This product, and it comes in a smaller, this is for a V8, okay, but it comes in for 4 cylinders or for 6 cylinders. You can get smaller cans, but this really works to reduce smoke, reduce oil consumption, reduce friction and wear inside the engine. This really works, okay, so I highly recommend this. I've used this for years. Next up, okay, this, and here's the old version. These AT205s, okay, this is the old container, what the old container looked like. This is the new container. You can see that you can get these on Amazon. I think they're on eBay, different places online. This stuff works really, really well. This is almost strictly for stopping oil leaks and oil consumption. These little canisters here, you don't even have to use the whole bottle. That's how good this is. They use like a half a bottle in a 4-cylinder or a 6-cylinder engine. A half a bottle of this, you put it in, and it will stop your car from leaking oil. Okay, it will stop the car from leaking oil through gaskets that are not seated quite right. Okay, so here we go. Now, I'm going to have to address, I know there are going to be people who say, if a gasket is leaking, you need to replace the gasket. And that's true. Sometimes. Okay, I'm going to talk to these experienced mechanics who are going to get on my channel, and I see on other people's channels saying, oh no, engine additives don't work. Engine additives are not the way to go. No, that's half-assing it. Can I say ass on YouTube? It's half-assing it. Do the job right. Don't be lazy, etc., etc. Okay, as an experienced mechanic, 30 years myself, and as an experienced mechanical engineer myself, I can say with authority that one, those guys don't know what they're talking about, and two, these products are engineered to do their job under the right conditions. Okay? Under the right conditions. If a vehicle is damaged, if it has broken rings, if it has a seal that has a rip in it, will this repair it? No. Will this fix a damaged gasket? No. Is this product designed to fix a car that is broken? No. What these products do is quite simply, they react with good intact gaskets and seals. They make them swell up a little bit to stop minor leaks. There's nothing wrong with that. I say replacing a gasket unnecessarily is equally as stupid as trying to use an engine additive to fix a broken gasket or a broken vehicle. These products are good for what they're good for. Just like a screwdriver can't do what a hammer can do, or a screwdriver can't do what a wrench can do. You have to use the proper tool and the proper additive for the proper situation. And the situation with these is, after a new build, or you have an older vehicle with worn or slightly shrunken seals or gasket, this is an excellent solution for the guy who may not be a mechanic, or a guy who is a mechanic, but you add this, it stops the leak for 5 or 6 years, that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, the purists that think every time there's an oil leak, you have to change the gasket, don't listen to them because they don't know what they're talking about. All right, so let's move on to my next product. Oil stop leak. Okay, these are similar to the one I just showed you, but they're stronger. I mean, these really, really work. I've tried these on numerous occasions, and they work for stopping leaks where you have a leak on the ground. Under your car, you have a leak that's coming from either a valve cover gasket or an oil pan gasket or a front engine, or even a main engine seal. Seals, front engine seals, rear engine seals, crank seals, these work. Now, one note of advice. When you have a valve cover gasket leak, two things you want to do first. One, just tighten up the screws on the valve cover. A quarter turn usually will do it. Just make sure that, don't over tighten them, don't squeeze and cut the gasket. But those gaskets over time, they squish down, and if you just tighten it a little bit, you won't even need this. So that's the first thing to check on valve cover gaskets. The second thing on valve cover gaskets is, I don't really recommend these for valve cover gaskets. They're easy to get to, they're relatively cheap, just change them. I would recommend changing valve cover gaskets. Even though this might work, it's just too easy just to change them, and it's too cheap. So in that regard, I agree with the purists to say if there's a problem, change it, because valve cover gaskets don't usually get repaired with this type of additive. Seals, they will get repaired. Valve seals, front engine seals, rear engine main seals, front engine covers, and also oil pans, even oil pans. And oil pans also, just like the valve cover, sometimes all they need is a little bit of a tweak to tighten up all those little, usually 10mm screws that go around the base. But this works excellent. This is the best. And I can't, and again, the two, what's the difference? This is an old style. Okay, this is basically the same stuff. This is the new, what the new container looks like. I don't know if somebody bought them out or what happened, but these two are basically the same. There's another one that's specifically for rear main engine seals by, what's this, Blue Devil. Blue Devil works great. I'm not affiliated with any of these companies. I don't get any kickback. They don't know I'm doing this. I can say what I want to say, okay? And that said, I'm going to talk probably negatively about another Blue Devil product, but that's my prerogative. Here's a final tip. This is not a treatment or a seal. Croil. This stuff works excellent for what it's for. What is it? It's a penetrant oil. And as far as penetrant oils go, over the last 30 years of using different ones, this is absolutely hands down, head and shoulders the best. The absolute best. If you've got rusted on bolts, you've got stuck bolts, something that you can't get loose, you need it to soak overnight in some penetrant oil to try and break it loose, come on. You don't get any better than this from my personal experience. Okay? I highly recommend it and endorse Croil. It has saved me many times. I love it. I use it. And there you have it. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about additives that I don't recommend. Additives that I would say don't use in the situation and circumstances under which I would say do not use these particular additives because they cause more problems than they're worth. And what are those? Some people aren't going to like this. Radiator leak additives. Coolant leak additives. I've tried several. I've had spotty hit and miss results, but I do not recommend using a coolant sealer ever, and here's why. Most of the time, or at least many times, when you put that stuff in your radiator, it coats the inside of the radiator, creating an insulation effect in the radiator, which makes your engine run hotter. When your engine runs hotter, it doesn't run as efficiently, it doesn't have the right kind of emissions, you have all kinds of other problems, okay? You don't want to coat your radiator. Additionally, inside your dash, there's another small device that looks like a little bitty radiator called your heater core. Many times that heater core will get completely plugged up by these sealants. They seal too well, and they make your heater core stop working. So now you no longer have heat. So now, in order to change that, you got to take the whole dash loose and get underneath there and change the heater core, and that makes a mess when you take the hoses loose. I don't recommend using any kind of a sealer for a head gasket. When a head gasket is bad or leaking, you need to replace the head gasket. It's a big job, it's an expensive job, but the head gasket's job is a very hard job. It's under a lot of pressure, a lot of heat, and it's directly in contact with the combustion chamber. You don't want to half-step that type of a job and then go on a trip somewhere and have it blow out or have it fail. You want the head gasket to be repaired correctly. So I never recommend, even Blue Devils, they have really good products. They have a head gasket sealer. I don't recommend it. They have a radiator sealer. I don't recommend it. Others have those sealers too. I don't recommend any of those. I've tried many of them. I've had maybe a 30% success rate. That's hit and miss to me. That's not a good success rate for me. I don't recommend those. What I do recommend are these here. These are the brands I've used. These are the actual products that I've used, and I've gotten excellent results. They work great. Here's your Croil, and that is your recommendation for engine additives from Engineer Boy 100. Signing out, and have a good day. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more good quality, unbiased opinions.